Welcome to the final part of our infamous complete story, Second Son. Well, when we last left off, Abigail, Fetch Walker, and a few other conduits were being transported across the United States, and they happened to be passing outside of Seattle. Well, the location that they happened to be passing by was a small Okamish tribe reservation. One of the conduits in the truck had picked his locks, and he forced the truck to crash, wrecking it right in front of Delson Rowe and his brother Reggie. Abigail and another conduit named Eugene ran off, and Reggie chases after them to see what's going on, when Delson sees Hank Daughtry stuck under some wreckage, asking for help. Delson quickly runs over and he pulls Hank out of the wreckage, absorbing his powers, and this knocks Delson on his butt, but once he gets back to his senses, he suddenly discovers that he can turn into smoke. Scared of what this is, he stumbles around, not in full control of it, chasing Hank, demanding, "Take this back! You did this to me!" And he chases Hank inside of a building where he discovers Hank has no idea what happened. This must be Delson's conduit power, to absorb the other conduit's powers. Well, the DUP arrives, and that's an organization that captures the conduits, and they start trying to recapture all three of the missing conduits from the wreckage now. They end up cornering Hank inside of the launch house, which is where Delson happens to be at the same time, since he's trying to get Hank to remove these powers, and Hank runs outside to escape Delson, and right into Brooke Augenstein, the leader of the DUP. Her power is to create concrete from nothing, and she walls Hank up in a concrete prison. She then turns her attention to Delson, asking him, what happened in there? Delson refuses to tell her what's going on, so she begins putting concrete shards in Delson's legs and the other members of the Okamish tribe. Regardless of what Delson decides to do with her questioning, he ends up unconscious and he wakes up weeks later. The tribe has been tortured by Augenstein, and she left shards of concrete in everybody's bodies. All because they wouldn't reveal Delson's true nature to her. The Okamish tribe are family, and they will protect their own. So Delson decides to go get Reggie and go to Seattle. The DUP have set up shop to hunt down the other two conduits, Abigail and Eugene, and Augenstein must be there, and she's the only one who can remove the shards from the rest of the tribe. Or maybe Delson can take her powers himself, you never know. After a little bit of travel, they now get to Seattle and they discover that the entire city is under martial law until the DUP can find the last two conduits. Well, the first one that they manage to find is Abigail, and he chases her and then he finds her killing off the drug dealers in Seattle to get back to what happened to her and Brent. After explaining his goals and forcibly taking her powers, he befriends her and the two decide to work together to disrupt the DUP. The next conduit, Eugene, actually helps Delson track down the DUP's operation as an anonymous caller to Delson, claiming to be just a fan. But eventually Delson tracks Eugene down and the two become friends, giving Delson that power also. At this point, Delson can control smoke, neon lights, and video feeds. Now, depending on your morality, he'll also learn how destructive his power can be, or how he can use this to save and help people. That's entirely up to the player though. Once he has all three powers, he gets wind that there's another conduit running around, and he discovers that Hank, the guy with the smoke powers from the start, is still around and he's running free and trying to get away from the DUP. Well, Delson chases him down, taking out the DUP on his trail, and after catching up, he discovers that the DUP have actually captured Abigail and Eugene. So Delson convinces Hank to help him assault the island to free those two, and to get Augenstein out in the open so that Delson can take her powers. He has the power to do it, and he has some friends to rescue right now. But Reggie doesn't trust any of these bioterrorists, which is basically the derogatory name for conduits. But he still joins Hank and Delson, and the three make their assault. The whole time that they're attacking it, Hank keeps bringing up odd facts about Delson's powers, and odd facts that he should know, but Delson insists on trusting him. And eventually, the three of them get to the top of the island, and Delson learns that Hank betrayed them. He's been working with Augenstein for some reason, and now not only does she have Abigail and Eugene captured, but she also has Delson right where she wants him. Well, she traps Delson's feet in place, and he's doomed. Except Reggie steps out and fires a rocket launcher at the concrete on Delson's feet, freeing him. But in response to this random guy saving Delson, Augenstein traps Reggie in concrete and throws him off the side of the island. Delson holds on to him, but Reggie knows there's no saving him. He says how proud of Delson he is, and he lets go of Delson's hands, plummeting to the ocean below. Delson is so enraged that he lets loose everything that he has. He destroys the island. He puts Augenstein on the run. He can't believe this. All Reggie wanted to do was protect his brother and the tribe. Augenstein, you're going down. Delson first tracks down Hank, who escaped the destroying island. It's this man's fault that Reggie was there and got killed. But Delson learns that Hank had no option. Augenstein had his daughter. He had to do what she said. This is another morality choice for the player. Either kill Hank or let Hank go with his daughter. And once that's resolved, it's time to get revenge on Augustine. She's tortured the Okamish tribe. She's killed Reggie. She's making everybody suffer. He grabs his two friends, Abigail and Eugene, and they lay waste to the tower that Augustine is hiding in. And eventually, Delsin comes face to face with her. He takes her concrete powers and her memories, and now he knows why she's been doing this. You see, when Cole set off the bomb, it got rid of 90% of the conduits. That's true. But shortly after that, the last 10% started to wake up again. Augustine was a soldier when the first batch began to wake up, of which she was one of the conduits waking up, and she saw the army killing her own kind. She had an option: team up with the army to help capture her own kind and put them in their own prison island where they couldn't harm anybody or be harmed, or fight against the army and die with the rest of the conduits. So she got the government to fund her and her organization, the DUP, and their purpose was to humanely capture the conduits and place them at a central prison island for them. But recently, they did such a good job that she was losing funding because of the lack of conduit events. So she staged this whole thing with Abigail, Hank, and Eugene going free to validate more funding. Well, this is the last decision in the game. Does Delsin kill Augustine and then, with Abigail and Eugene, take over Seattle? And if they do this, the tribe will banish Delsin and he'll destroy everything in his rage. Or do you go with the good option? Delsin turns Augustine into the government and exposes what she's actually been doing. The DUP disbands, and Delsin, Abigail, and Eugene are able to convince the humans that conduits are able to live peacefully among them. Delsin returns to the reservation, and he heals the whole tribe, and then he paints a mural to his brother. Which ending did you pick? Did you rule all the humans? Or did you prove that you can live amongst them? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys next time, right here at Eligible Monster.